I'm going to teach you how to use music to move your audience from this to this. You'll learn how to use modulation like a Hollywood composer, from James Horner's Oscar-nominated score to Braveheart. We'll focus on one cue where the key changes 3 times, and you'll learn how to guide the listener and tell a better story with your music. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. If you're new, my name is Ryan. I've got music on every major network, and this is where I talk about the craft of writing music. There's a scene in Braveheart where William Wallace has to convince an unwilling group of soldiers to go up in battle against the English army. He wins them over with a rousing speech, but it's James Horner's score that convinces us emotionally that the men have been inspired. The scene starts in A mixolydian, which is just A major with a flat 7. The flat 7 makes the music a bit softer and more neutral, which works because we're not sure yet which way this scene is going to go.
And if this is your army, why does it go?
We get our first modulation and our first shift in the music when Wallace says, "Sons of Scotland," and people start to listen up.
Sons of Scotland, I am William Wallace.
Although the gravity of the music before really centered around A as the tonic, now we're firmly cadencing into D major. The major key feels noble and warm, which gives us a positive feeling about Wallace. I want to point out the difference between this concept of a hit and the idea of a shift. A hit in film scoring is when the music intentionally highlights a specific moment, which Horner does by cadencing at the end of Wallace's line. But a shift is when the entire music track itself moves into new territory. By modulating to D major, Horner not only highlights the line of dialogue, but shows that it's a major turning point in the scene. Also notice that the lead instrument has changed from oboe to French horn. The next modulation comes under the line, "Here in defiance of tyranny." There is a very strong and clear cadence into D, and since we are in the key of D major, we expect to land on a D major chord. But instead, Horner shifts to D Dorian, which is a minor mode.
And I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny.
The modulation is incredibly smooth because we still are expecting D, it's just been transformed from D major to a D minor. Pay attention to how the modulation creates a significant shift in the scene and carries the story forward into the next moment. And again, notice how every one of these shifts also has a change in the lead instrument. When I first analyzed this cue years ago, it really changed how I think about scoring a scene. I'm much more focused on establishing and maintaining a mood for a certain stretch of time and then shifting as the story changes, rather than trying to keep the same music for the whole scene and just hitting important moments. I can talk more in a future video about how I plan the score for a scene, so if that's something you'd like to see, let me know in the comments and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. So here we are in D Dorian, sometimes mixed with D natural minor, and the mood has a much more serious tone as Wallace talks to the men about freedom.
You've come to fight as free men. And free men you are.
We get one more modulation when Wallace really gets his audience's attention.
Fight and you may die. Run and you'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the
You can
days
feel
from
it in the
this day to
music that now he is reaching into their hearts. Again, Horner cadences into D. Do not underestimate the power of a cadence. But he cadences into a D chord with no third, which means he can effortlessly move from D minor back to D major and shift the music into this last segment of the scene. The shift from D minor to D major plays on that idea of using major chords from outside your key to make them feel even more major. For more about how that works, check out this video here, where I talk about how film composers use chords by thirds to create that Hollywood sound. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.